of state budget impacts of this new congressional bill. School choice voucher programs sucking away education dollars, federal cuts to education funding, setting up a big tax and budget revenue fight. A lot of uncertainty going into the school year, that's for sure.
There's been some news about education recently in the Supreme Court, Adam. You're a former educator, obviously. Your teaching certificate is still active. You still keep that active, is my understanding.
That's right. I'm certified through 2027.
There you go. So what's been the latest? And I was surprised when I saw the news that Senator Britt actually was speaking out against some of these funding freezes from the Department of Education. What's going on there?
Yeah, let's start there. We'll hit the Alabama side of this, which is that, there are frozen education funds from the federal government, and it's about $68 million for the state of Alabama that's impacted, close to $7 billion nationally that's been frozen. And Senator Katie Britt was among 10 Senate Republicans that urged the Office of Management and Budget to release this money. So Britt signed onto a letter to OMB Director Russell Vaught and asked that it be released. And, interestingly enough, they said that the decision to withhold this funding is contrary to President Trump's goal of returning K-12 education to the states, going on to say that this funding goes directly to states and local school districts where local leaders decide how this funding is spent, because as we know, local communities know how to best serve students and families. Withholding this funding denies states and communities the opportunity to pursue localized initiatives to support students and their families. So that's interesting. And, of course, State Superintendent Eric Mackey was happy to hear that. He's been making the rounds in the news lately, very concerned about the impact of this funding freeze, because basically they expected it on July 1st, and they got an email on June 30th from the federal government saying, oh, sorry, actually, they are under review right now, which is a big old bummer if you are one of the staff members who are funded through this position, right? Whether you're a teacher or an assistant, and needless to say, the students and families that benefit from these programs. So I was a little surprised by that. Tommy Tuberville also said he did not sign the letter, but he did say that he expected them to be released soon. And that he has spoken with Secretary of Education Linda McMahon about it. So just to give you the breakdown, some of the funding that's actually been frozen here, these are all federal programs, and some of them are support services for English language learners, some for migrant students, some for summer and after-school programs, and some include, teacher training and salaries, including efforts to reduce class sizes. And according to Dr. Mackey, the state superintendent, there's at least 200 teaching positions here that are under threat. So that's a big concern. It is interesting that Senator Britt spoke out, so we'll see. The House Democrats had already done a similar letter previously. Congresswoman Terry Sewell, was the only one from Alabama to sign that, it's my understanding. So we have that going on. We also have some issues going on with the Supreme Court. And I'll borrow here a little bit from AFT's statement, American Federation of Teachers, saying that the Supreme Court delivered a significant blow to public education in America, effectively allowing President Trump's attempt to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education to proceed while a case challenging the unlawful cuts is considered.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
So the Supreme Court order granted the government's request for a stay, lifting 2 lower court decisions that had blocked mass firings and the unlawful elimination of many of the department's crucial offices. So it was a big coalition that filed the complaint, including various affiliates of AFT and AFT National, as well as AFSCME, American Association of University Professors, and the SEIU. And they had won previously an injunction in district court But disappointing to see this happen because the Trump-Vance administration has basically laid out a plan to dismantle the Department of Education. And, according to AFT and I think many others, the National Education Association as well, they see this as an unlawful plan that will immediately and irreparably harm students, educators, and communities across our country. And so the Department of Education at the federal level does do any number of things, quite a number of things, and education is still primarily a state and local issue. But like I said, just the frozen funds here in Alabama impacts hundreds of teaching positions, as well as other staff, right? So there's a lot of funding that does come from the federal government, and it predominantly is geared towards low-income students, students who are learning English, students with disabilities. And so, it's disproportionately impacting the most marginalized and the folks who need it the most. So, it's a big concern, that AFT, NEA, and quite a number in the labor movement are really, really concerned that you have offices like, the Office of Special Education Programs and the Office of Federal Student Aid under threat, right? I mean, these are important offices. And you've had mass layoffs already in the works, under the Department of Education. It's relevant here in Huntsville. I've thought about how many of the schools in Huntsville, as well as the surrounding areas, are Title I schools, meaning they have a significant number of impoverished students, right? So these funds are really important to try to help, meet these needs, because frankly, it's just harder to teach students who are dealing with challenges like that, whether it's poverty or learning a new language. You're going to require more staff. It takes more resources to try to meet those needs. And so, it's really disappointing. But yeah, pleasant surprise to see Senator Britt speak out about it. We'll see. They say it's going to be released soon. It was, supposed to hit July 1st. School is starting very soon. A lot of teachers have to report back to work in Alabama next week. Can you believe that? In July, right? Like, it's pretty wild. But yeah, that's where it's at. So, a lot of uncertainty going into the new school year. And there's a lot of uncertainties, I think, in how this is going to play out, because you have the federal threats to funding and the federal threats to education broadly. My understanding is that the so-called Big Beautiful Bill also expanded school choice. We know that we have school choice that was expanded here in Alabama with the Choose Act last year. That's really starting to kick into gear. So we're talking about tens of millions of dollars are going to be drained from the Education Trust Fund year in, year out, and it's going to keep growing. So we have, that aspect of the budget is going to cause some problems. So it's going to be interesting to see, how things shake out in the legislative session this next year, or maybe the year after. It's going to be hard to know when the bills really come due. But, if you keep passing tax cuts left and right, you have a school choice voucher program sucking away education dollars. You have federal cuts to education funding. And then all of a sudden you have the state budget impacts of this new congressional bill setting up a big tax and budget revenue fight. And so we'll see what happens. But, a lot of uncertainty going into the school year, that's for sure.
Yep. Not good. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.